Nico had always dreamed of exploring planets that no human had ever seen. He had spent years training for this moment. Now, standing on the surface of a new world, he could hardly believe his eyes. The sky was a soft purple, and the suns hung low on the horizon, casting long shadows over a forest of towering trees. The trees had trunks as wide as buildings and leaves that shimmered like glass. Strange creatures moved between the branches, glowing faintly in the dim sunlight. He adjusted his helmet and stepped carefully on the soft, moss-like ground. Each step made a quiet, musical crunch. Nico scanned the horizon with his scanner, hoping to find signs of intelligent life. Nothing moved beyond the animals, but he felt a strange energy in the air. It was not dangerous, but it was different from anything he had experienced. The feeling made his heart beat faster with excitement and caution. Suddenly, he noticed a light moving above the treetops. At first, he thought it was one of the glowing animals, but the movement was too deliberate. The light descended quickly, cutting through the purple sky like a small star falling toward him. Nico froze. The scanner picked up no metallic ship or aircraft. Whoever or whatever was coming, it was not using technology he recognized then. Standing in a small clearing, the light formed into a shape. A tall figure appeared, glowing faintly with an inner light. The figure moved gracefully, and as it stepped into the open, Nico could see it clearly. It was humanoid, but unlike any human he had ever seen. The skin shimmered like pearls, and the eyes glowed a soft silver. Its hair floated as if underwater, moving gently with the air. Nico's jaw dropped. The figure smiled slightly and spoke in perfect galactic basic. "Don't just stand there, human. Come closer." Nico blinked in surprise. He took a cautious step forward. I am Nico. "I come in peace," he said, his voice trembling slightly with awe. The figure bowed gracefully. "I am Princess Arya of the Valari. You are the first human I have met in person. You may step forward safely." Nico's mind raced. Stories of alien races rarely describe beings like this. The Valari had been rumored to exist, but no one had ever proved it. Now, here was one standing in front of him, speaking directly to him. He felt nervous, but also strangely calm. There was something in her presence that made fear fade. He stepped closer, scanning her with his equipment. Every readout was extraordinary. The energy signature of her body was unlike anything the scanners had ever measured. Her very presence seemed to bend the air slightly, making it shimmer in waves around her. Nico realized he was witnessing something beyond his understanding, something beautiful and powerful. Why are you here?" Nico asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Arya tilted her head, her silver eyes observing him closely. "I have watched your kind for a long time. Humans are interesting. You survive in ways no other species can. You are brave, clever, and curious. I wanted to see if your spirit matches what I have observed from afar." Nico felt a rush of pride mixed with disbelief. You watched us from here?" Arya nodded. "Yes, I have followed your travels through space, learning from your actions, your choices, and your courage. Your species is unusual." Nico laughed nervously. "Unusual. That is one way to put it. I never thought an alien princess would be calling me unusual. Usually, we are ignored or worse, considered weak." Arya's smile widened slightly. "That is why I sought you. Humans are underestimated, but your strengths are in your mind and your heart. You do not give up easily. That is rare. I wanted to see if it is true in person." Nico felt both proud and curious. "So, why me? Why here?" Arya stepped closer, her movements graceful and deliberate. "Because you came where others would not. You do not wait for permission. You take the first step into the unknown. That is what makes humans special." The words felt heavy in the air. Nico looked around at the glowing forest, the strange creatures, and the two suns hanging low in the sky. He realized he had entered a world far beyond any human map or exploration guide. Yet somehow, he felt connected to it because of the presence of this alien princess. Arya gestured to the clearing around them. "Walk with me. There is much to see, and time is short." I wish to show you my world and learn more about yours. Nico hesitated for only a moment before following her. Each step he took made him feel both small and significant. Small because this world was enormous, ancient, and full of mysteries. Significant because he had been chosen to meet a being who had watched his entire species from a far dot as they walked. Arya spoke softly about her planet. The Valari live in harmony with the forest. Our cities are grown, not built. Every structure, every path exists because we guided the life around us to shape it. We respect all living things. You humans, you seem to survive despite great challenges. That is admirable. Nico listened intently. We survive because we are curious. We explore. We learn. We adapt. Sometimes we fail, but we keep going. That is all we have. Arya's eyes glowed brighter. Yes, that is what I hope to see. You do not rely solely on power. You rely on spirit. That is why I sought you. They reached a small stream, the water glowing softly in blues and greens. Nico knelt and touched the liquid. It felt alive, warm, and slightly electric. This is amazing. Nothing like this exists on Earth. Arya smiled. It is one of many wonders here. But the greatest wonder is the courage to step forward into the unknown. You have that. Nico, that is why you are here. Now, Nico looked at her, feeling a mix of excitement and responsibility. I don't know why, but I feel like meeting you changes everything. Like this is the beginning of something bigger. Arya nodded. It is. You will see. But first, you must understand my world, my people, and why you are truly here. Step carefully, human. The path ahead is not easy, but it is worth walking. Nico took a deep breath, feeling both nervous and eager. He had traveled across stars, explored unknown planets, and faced dangers, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. Walking beside the alien princess in a forest that seemed alive with energy, he realized that the real adventure was only beginning. Nico followed Princess Arya through the glowing forest. Each step revealed new wonders. Giant flowers unfolded as they passed, revealing petals that sparkled like crystals. Small animals with translucent wings hovered nearby, watching silently. The air smelled fresh and sweet, like a mixture of honey and rain. Nico could not stop looking around. Every moment seemed more incredible than the last. After walking for a while, they reached a clearing. At the center was a palace, but it was unlike any building Nico had ever seen. It looked alive. Walls were made of glowing vines that twisted and grew naturally into arches. Towers stretched toward the sky like crystal trees. Water ran along channels that floated above the ground. The palace seemed to breathe with the forest. Welcome to the Valari court, Arya said softly. Her voice carried authority and warmth. At the same time, this is where my people live and govern. You may enter freely. All here know that a human stands among us for the first time. Nico's mouth went dry. He had imagined meeting aliens, but never like this. It is beautiful. I have never seen anything like it. How did your people build this? Arya smiled. Slightly. We did not build it as you would imagine. The forest and life around us grow with guidance. We shape them, teach them, and they respond. Everything here is alive. It listens, moves, and changes with our needs, the walls, the towers, even the water channels. All of it is connected to the world itself. Nico took a careful step inside the palace. The floor glowed faintly under his boots, letting a path like a ribbon of stars. This is incredible. It feels alive, almost like the palace is breathing. It is, Arya said, walking beside him. Everything in the Valari court is alive. Our technology is not separate from life. It is life guided by thought, by understanding, and by purpose. You humans tend to separate machines and living things. That is a weakness, but also a strength. You adapt. They entered a large hall. The ceiling stretched high above, sparkling like the night sky. Valari citizens moved gracefully around, interacting with the living architecture. Some glided above the ground using small floating platforms. Others tended glowing plants that responded to touch. All eyes turned to Nico, but none with hostility. only curiosity." Arya paused. "These are my people. Do not be afraid. They know you are a visitor, and a first among your kind. You may speak freely." Nico nodded, feeling slightly nervous. He raised his hand in greeting. "I am Nico, from Earth. I come in peace and friendship." The Valari observed him quietly. Some whispered to each other in a soft language that sounded like music. Then, one stepped forward. She was tall, with silver eyes like Arya, and moved with fluid grace. "We have watched your kind, human, from afar. We have seen your courage. It is not often that outsiders show interest in our world, and even less often with respect. We welcome you." Nico felt a mix of pride and surprise. He had trained for encounters like this, but he had not expected immediate acceptance. "Thank you. I hope to learn from you and help if I can." Arya gestured toward a balcony overlooking the palace gardens. "Walk with me. I wish to show you more of our ways. It is important that you understand not just the palace, but the values of the Valari." Nico followed her. Below the balcony, gardens stretched as far as he could see. Flowers glowed in soft blues, pinks, and greens. Streams of water floated in the air, carrying nutrients to plants and animals. Valari citizens tended these streams, guiding the water with gentle motions. Every action seemed like a dance. "Our people respect all life," Arya explained. "We do not dominate. We guide. We observe. We preserve. Your kind is different. You change everything you touch. That is risky, but it also allows you to overcome impossible challenges." Nico nodded. "We adapt because we must. Sometimes it works, sometimes it fails, but we keep trying. That is how we survive." Arya's eyes glimmered. "Yes, I see that in you. That is why I sought you personally. Humans are unpredictable, but that unpredictability can be powerful. You have courage, curiosity, and persistence. Those are qualities my people respect. They are rare among the stars." As they walked through the palace, Nico noticed small details. Walls shifted slightly as if alive, showing images of forests, mountains, oceans, and stars. Furniture floated gently above the floor, shaped perfectly to whoever used it. Light changed color depending on mood, turning warmer when children played in the hall and cooler when Valari scholars worked. Nico realized this world responded not just to thought, but to emotion. "You will see," Arya said, stopping beside a glowing pool, "that my people value more than strength. We value intelligence, cooperation, and spirit. Even our greatest machines are alive, but they serve understanding, not destruction. That is why humans fascinate us. You do not rely solely on machines or power. You rely on mind, heart, and courage." Nico smiled. "I think that is the best way to survive. You cannot always control your environment, but you can control your choices. You can think, adapt, and act. That is something no machine or weapon can fully replace." Arya looked at him closely. "Exactly. That is why I believe humans can become allies. You are new to the stars, yet you hold qualities that many older civilizations lack. That is why meeting you is so important. It is not just curiosity. It is understanding potential." Suddenly, a soft alarm echoed through the palace. Arya's eyes sharpened. "That sound warns of outsiders approaching. Do not worry, human. My people can handle them. But this is the first test of your spirit. Observe and learn. You will see the courage of both species." Nico followed her to the nearest balcony. In the distance, he could see ships descending from the sky. They were sleek and dark, clearly designed for battle. Yet the Valari citizens did not panic. Arya remained calm, her silver eyes bright with focus. "They will challenge us," she said quietly. "But I trust in my people, and I trust you, human. You will see that courage is not measured by strength alone. Sometimes it is the will to act when all seems impossible. That is what humans can show." Nico's heart raced. This was more than he had expected. Meeting an alien civilization was incredible. Watching them prepare for a possible threat was even more astonishing. He realized that the adventure he had dreamed of was only beginning, and that his choices would matter more than ever before. Arya placed a hand on his shoulder. Rest now, observe, learn, and prepare. Tomorrow, you will see the heart of the Valari court in full. Today is only the beginning of understanding. Nico nodded. He felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He had crossed stars, faced unknown dangers, and explored strange worlds, yet here, standing beside an alien princess, in a living palace, he realized he had entered something entirely new, something that could change not only his life, but the future of humans in the galaxy. He took a deep breath, looking at the glowing palace, the floating streams, and the Valari people preparing silently for the night. He felt a spark of determination. Whatever was coming, he would face it. He would learn. He would survive. And he would show the Valari the spirit that made humans extraordinary. Nico awoke before sunrise. The soft purple light of the two suns had not yet touched the palace, but the glowing walls cast a gentle glow across the hall. He felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Today would be his first real test in the Valari world. He did not know exactly what to expect, but he trusted Princess Arya and her people. He walked quietly through the palace halls. Most of the Valari were already awake, moving gracefully between floating platforms and glowing plants. Some guided the water streams. Others communicated with small creatures that seemed to respond. To their thoughts, every movement was calm, precise, and purposeful. Nico felt both awe and determination. He wanted to prove that humans could match their skill and spirit. Arya met him at the central hall. "The outsiders are approaching faster than expected," she said. Her silver eyes were calm but alert. "They do not understand our ways. They will test the palace, our defenses, and our patience. Today, you will see how we protect our home. Observe carefully, human. Learn from what you see." Nico nodded. "I am ready. Tell me what to do." Arya smiled slightly. "For now, watch, understand. The first challenge is not to fight, but to see courage in action. Your people rely on thought and adaptation. Today, you will see how those qualities can shape the outcome." They moved to a high balcony overlooking the approach path. In the distance, Nico saw sleek black ships descending. Unlike the peaceful environment of the palace, these ships looked harsh and threatening. The humans he had trained with would call this an invasion fleet, yet the Valari remained calm. Their palace walls glowed brighter, and the floating gardens shimmered as if alive with energy. Arya placed her hand on the edge of the balcony. "Watch the light. Watch the movement. The palace itself is alive. It will respond to intent and spirit. We do not rely solely on weapons, but on connection to life." Nico focused on the ships. He noticed that the palace walls began to shift slowly. Vines extended outward, glowing more intensely. Floating water streams moved toward the ships, forming barriers of shimmering liquid. Nico could not understand fully how it worked, but he saw that the palace itself was preparing. Suddenly, one of the black ships fired a beam toward the palace. The energy hit a wall of glowing vines, and the vines absorbed the attack. The beam dissolved into harmless light. Nico gasped. He had never seen technology interact with a living structure in this way. The Valari palace was not just strong, it was intelligent. Arya whispered, "Do you see, human? Courage is not about attacking blindly. It is about understanding your environment and responding with purpose. We do not fight with hatred. We act with precision and respect. That is our strength." Nico studied the palace's response. He realized that humans could learn from this approach. Instead of using brute force, the Valari relied on adaptation, guidance, and calm decision-making. He felt a sense of awe mixed with determination. He wanted to understand fully how they achieved this. Another ship fired, and the palace responded. Immediately, vines wrapped around the attack energy, redirecting it harmlessly into the sky. Water streams shifted, creating barriers and guiding energy away from the main hall. Nico noticed that some Valari citizens moved gracefully between the defenses, guiding the living structures with gestures and focused thought. Every action was precise, purposeful, and beautiful. Arya turned to Nico. "This is only the first test. They will attempt more, but the palace and my people will respond." Observe the balance of thought, courage, and cooperation. Notice how every action matters. That is how humans can survive in the stars, not by strength alone, but by strategy, spirit, and focus. Nico nodded, absorbing every detail. He felt a sense of pride and curiosity. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy, yet here, he saw a civilization that could teach them much. He realized that courage alone was not enough. Understanding, patience, and observation were equally important. Suddenly, one of the black ships broke formation and descended closer to the palace. It fired a rapid sequence of energy blasts, aiming for a floating garden. Nico watched as the Valari reacted instantly. Vines and water streams shifted, creating barriers that absorbed and redirected the blasts. Citizens guided the defenses with precise motions, their focus intense and unshakable. One blast managed to reach a small section of the garden. Nico saw a plant sway and glow brighter. A citizen extended a hand, and the plant recovered, absorbing the damage and returning to its original form. Nico's heart raced. He had never seen anything recover so quickly. The palace was alive in a way humans could only imagine. Arya spoke softly. Notice, human, even when damage occurs, we adapt. We do not panic. We respond with thought and care. Courage is not only acting boldly, but also recovering wisely. That is what makes a species strong in the galaxy. Nico realized she was teaching him more than just observation. She was teaching him philosophy. Strength without understanding was dangerous. Power without guidance was wasted. Humans could survive in the stars not only because of courage, but because of their ability to learn, adapt, and act wisely. The black ships retreated slightly. Nico felt a sense of relief, but he knew the challenge was not over. Arya's eyes met his. Today, you have seen how we face danger. Tomorrow, you will participate. You will learn not only by watching but by acting. Are you ready for that? Nico straightened, determination burning in his chest. Yes, I want to learn. I want to help. I want to show that humans can face challenges with courage and thought. Arya smiled. Good. That is the spirit I saw in you. Remember this moment. Observe closely, understand deeply, and act wisely. The stars are vast, and humans have a place among them, but only if they use their mind and heart together. As the black ships finally departed, leaving the skies calm, Nico felt a new sense of purpose. He had traveled far across the galaxy, yet this was the first moment he truly understood what it meant to face the unknown. Courage alone was not enough. Observation, understanding, and cooperation were just as important. He looked at Arya, at the glowing palace, and at the living forest surrounding them. He realized that this was only the beginning. Many challenges would come, but he was ready. Humans had survived impossible odds before. Now, he would show that spirit to the Valari and to the galaxy. For the first time, Nico felt that being human was more than survival. It was potential. It was ingenuity. It was courage guided by understanding. And that potential would be tested in ways he could not yet imagine. The morning sun rose over the Valari palace, casting long shadows across the glowing gardens. Nico felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Today, he would not just watch. Today, he would participate. Arya had explained that the black ships could return at any moment, and the Valari wanted him to experience what it meant to face a challenge alongside them. Arya met him at the central hall. You have learned by observing, she said. Now it is time to act. You will help guide the defenses. The palace can respond on its own, but it is more powerful when life and mind work together. Watch closely, listen carefully, and trust your instincts. Nico nodded. He had trained for moments like this on Earth, but nothing could fully prepare him for a living palace that moved with thought. I will do my best, he said. Arya led him to a platform that hovered above the palace grounds. From there, he could see the approach paths clearly. Vines and water streams already shifted gently. As if alive and aware, Nico could feel the subtle energy of the palace. He raised his hands, unsure at first. Then he remembered what Arya had said: observe, understand, act, he focused his mind on the vines in front of him. Slowly, they moved toward the edge of the platform, guided by his intent. Arya watched him closely. Good, human, trust yourself. The palace will respond. Your courage and focus matter more than force. Let your mind work with it, not against it. Suddenly, the black ships appeared again. They descended from the sky with silent speed, their dark forms cutting sharply against the glowing morning. Energy beams shot toward the palace. Nico tensed, but he remembered Arya's words. He focused on the vines and the water streams, imagining them forming barriers and guiding energy away from the palace. To his amazement, the palace responded. Vines wrapped around the beams, redirecting them harmlessly into the air. Water streams shifted, forming shimmering walls of liquid that absorbed energy before it could reach the gardens. Citizens moved gracefully, guiding the defenses like a well-choreographed dance. Nico felt a thrill. He was part of something extraordinary. Arya's voice was calm but sharp. Notice how every action counts. Courage is not only attacking, it is focusing, observing, and responding wisely. You can influence the outcome with thought and intent, not just strength. Nico nodded. He reached out mentally toward a section of vines that threatened to collapse under heavy energy fire. Slowly, they straightened and strengthened, glowing brighter. He could feel the palace responding to his intent, almost as if it were alive within him. He realized that humans, with their determination and adaptability, could become strong partners for the Valari. One of the black ships suddenly moved closer, firing a wide beam toward a floating garden. Nico's heart raced. The garden was fragile, but he remembered what Arya had shown him. He focused, imagining the energy being redirected into harmless light. The vines twisted around the beam, and water streams flowed like shields, absorbing the attack. The garden remained unharmed. Nico felt a surge of pride. Arya smiled. Good. That is your first true test, human. You acted with courage and thought. You guided the palace without force. That is how humans can survive among the stars. The ships retreated slightly, regrouping. Nico could see their pilots adjusting their aim, clearly surprised by the living defenses. He realized that the Valari did not fight to destroy. They defended to protect. Their courage came from understanding, not anger. Humans could learn from this. Now, we will take the next step, Arya said. You will help guide the citizens directly. Watch their movements and coordinate with them. You may not speak their language, but your intent can influence the outcome. Focus, human, and act with clarity. Nico took a deep breath. He raised his hands toward the citizens on the platforms below. Slowly, he directed the flow of vines and water streams toward the incoming attacks. Each citizen moved with precision, responding to his guidance. Nico felt a connection forming between himself, the palace, and the Valari. It was an incredible feeling, like being part of a living organism. Energy beams struck, but none reached the core of the palace. Nico's concentration never wavered. Every movement, every decision, every intention mattered. He was not fighting with weapons, but with focus, courage, and thought. A sudden wave of multiple beams came from a group of ships. Nico's mind raced. He remembered his training on Earth: assess, adapt, act. He quickly shifted his focus, guiding vines and water streams to form an intricate pattern of shields and channels. The beams scattered harmlessly, hitting only the outer defenses. Nico felt a rush of exhilaration. He was doing it. He was protecting the palace. Arya observed silently. You are learning quickly. Courage alone is not enough, but courage with thought is powerful. Humans have that potential. That is why you are here, Nico. That is why the Valari sought to meet your kind. As the battle continued, Nico noticed small details. The citizens worked with him, their movements graceful and precise. The palace responded instantly to his intent. Even small mistakes were corrected naturally. He realized that humans, with their adaptability, could enhance this system. He could think, adjust, and act in ways the Valari could not, because he was different. After several minutes, the ships finally began to retreat. Nico's heart pounded. He had participated in a real defense, and he had survived. More importantly, He had contributed. He had shown courage, focus, and adaptability. Arya turned to him, her eyes bright with approval. "Well done, human," she said. "You have passed the first test. You acted with thought, courage, and spirit. The palace and my people responded to you, not because you were perfect, but because you were willing to act with understanding. That is what makes humans extraordinary." Nico felt a surge of pride and relief. He had faced danger, guided a living palace, and contributed to the defense. He realized that being human meant more than surviving. It meant using the mind and heart together. It meant courage guided by understanding. It meant potential waiting to be realized. Arya placed a hand on his shoulder. "Remember this day. Nico, you have seen your own strength and the strength of the Valari. Together, we can face greater challenges. Together, we can explore the stars, protect life, and learn from each other. Today is only the beginning." Nico nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He had crossed stars, faced unknown dangers, and now understood what it meant to act with courage and thought. He was no longer just a visitor. He was part of something larger. He was part of a partnership that could shape the future of humans. Among the stars, as he looked over the glowing palace and the calm, recovering gardens, Nico knew that this first test had changed him. He had learned, acted, and survived. And he would continue to grow, learning from the Valari, guiding them, and showing that humans could be more than explorers. Humans could be partners, protectors, and pioneers in the galaxy. After the morning's challenge, Nico felt both tired and energized. His body ached from the unfamiliar movements, but his mind burned with curiosity. The Valari Palace had revealed its power, but there was more to this world than walls and gardens. Arya had promised him a deeper lesson today. "You have guided the palace well," Arya said as they walked through a glowing corridor. "Now it is time to see the heart of our world. There are places humans rarely visit, places that hold knowledge, history, and responsibility. You will learn what it truly means to be part of the stars." Nico followed her, careful not to stumble on the softly glowing floor. The corridor led to a large chamber with a ceiling like a dome of glass. Outside, he could see a valley bathed in golden light. Strange. Towering trees with translucent leaves stretched toward the sky. Rivers of shimmering liquid flowed in patterns that seemed alive. Nico felt awe in every direction he looked. "This is the Valley of Memories," Arya said. "Here we preserve our history, our lessons, and our hopes. Every plant, every river, every stone has a story. Humans must learn that. Knowledge is not only in books or machines, it is in life itself." Nico stepped closer to the edge, trying to understand the glowing rivers. He reached out, and to his surprise, the liquid flowed toward his hand. Wrapping gently around it like a ribbon of light, a memory surged in his mind. He saw a young Valari learning to control a vine. Then another memory of the same Valari guiding a citizen through a challenge. Each memory was bright, clear, and full of life. Arya watched him quietly. "Do you see? Every action leaves an imprint. Every choice shapes the future. Courage without knowledge is blind. Strength without wisdom is empty. Here, humans can learn more than any school could teach." Nico nodded slowly. He felt both humbled and inspired. Humans often rushed into challenges without understanding the consequences. Here, the Valari combined courage with knowledge, and the results were incredible. Arya led him down a gently glowing path into the valley itself. The air was filled with a soft hum, like music made of light and thought. Creatures with wings like flowing silk moved gracefully, responding to their presence. Nico watched in amazement as the plants shifted and swayed, almost as if they were welcoming him. "Today, you will learn the second test," Arya said. "It is not about defense. It is about understanding, patience, and harmony. You must read the environment, predict changes, and guide it with care. Humans rely on tools and weapons. But here, the mind and heart are the greatest tools." Nico took a deep breath. He felt nervous, but ready. He had faced danger before, but this was different. This was about perception, intuition, and connection. Arya pointed to a small grove of trees whose branches twisted strangely. The energy here is unstable. If you act without thought, you could disrupt the balance. Observe, understand. Then influence. You will guide the growth without forcing it. Nico knelt and focused on the trees. At first, nothing happened. Then he felt a gentle pulse from the ground. He realized it was the life of the grove responding to his attention. Slowly, he guided the energy, imagining it flowing smoothly through each branch and leaf. The twisted branches straightened, leaves shimmered, and the grove glowed with calm light. Arya smiled. Good. Humans often rush, trying to impose control. Here, control comes from harmony, from working with life, not against it. You are learning quickly. Encouraged, Nico moved to a nearby river. Its flow was uneven, creating turbulence that threatened a cluster of glowing plants. He extended his hands and focused. Slowly, the river calmed, winding smoothly through the valley. The plants brightened, and the surrounding area felt peaceful. Nico realized that his actions had real impact. His focus and courage shaped the world around him. Suddenly, a small group of glowing creatures approached. They seemed wary. Moving carefully between the plants, Nico froze at first. He did not want to scare them. Then he remembered Arya's words: patience, understanding, harmony. He remained still, letting them sense his intent. Gradually, the creatures moved closer, brushing gently against his arms. Nico felt a rush of joy. This connection was unlike anything he had experienced on Earth. Arya spoke softly. This is why humans have potential in the stars. Your courage, curiosity, and adaptability allow you to connect with life in ways others may not. You can learn from what is alive, respond to change, and influence the future with care. Nico smiled. He realized that humans often overlook simple observation and patience, focusing only on action. Here, he understood that careful thought and harmony could be more powerful than any weapon. As they walked deeper into the valley, Arya led him to a hidden chamber beneath a large tree. Its walls glowed with symbols, each representing a lesson from the Valari history. These are the guides of our people, she said. They show how we face challenges, what we learned from them, and how we grew stronger. Humans can read them and understand that wisdom and courage must always walk together. Nico touched the glowing symbols. Memories of past battles, discoveries, and acts of bravery flowed into his mind. He saw how the Valari adapted, how they respected life, and how they overcame impossible odds. He felt inspired and motivated. Humans had faced dangers, too, but they could learn from this knowledge to become wiser, stronger, and more capable. Arya turned to him. Your first test showed courage and action. Your second test shows patience and understanding. Both are necessary. Humans can survive and thrive among the stars if they use both. You are learning, Nico. Remember these lessons? Nico nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He had not only acted with courage and defense, but had now connected with life itself. He understood that humans could be more than explorers. They could be protectors, learners, and partners in the galaxy. As they returned to the palace, the valley glowing behind them, Nico felt a quiet confidence. He had faced challenges, guided a living defense, and now understood the heart of a civilization unlike any on Earth. He knew that more tests awaited, but he felt ready. The stars beyond the palace looked brighter than ever. Nico realized that being human meant potential, courage, and understanding. He would continue to grow, learn, and prove that humans could stand proudly among the Valari, shaping the future together. The evening sky over the Valari Palace was calm and glowing with soft colors. Nico walked through the gardens, reflecting on the lessons of the valley. He had learned courage in action, patience and guidance, and the importance of harmony with life. Yet, a small part of him remained anxious. He had felt the black ships before, and he knew that the stars were never completely safe. Arya appeared beside him, her presence calm but serious. There is something you must see, Nico. Not all challenges come from misunderstanding or mistakes. Some are deliberate. You have learned to guide and protect. But now you must learn to face the unknown and the unexpected. Nico nodded. His heart raced. He had faced danger before, But the sense of anticipation was different this time. It was as if the stars themselves were holding their breath. Arya led him to the northern walls of the palace. From there, Nico could see the horizon darkening. Shadows moved through the atmosphere, distant but growing closer. A new fleet of black ships approached, larger and faster than before. The palace shuddered lightly, as if sensing the danger. Nico felt a thrill of fear mixed with determination. Humans often rely on weapons, Arya said. Here, we rely on courage, observation, and adaptation. Watch carefully, Nico. This is your chance to understand the strength that comes from thought and heart. The first wave of ships fired beams at the palace. Nico focused on the vines and water streams, guiding them into defensive patterns. The energy was redirected harmlessly, but he could sense that these attackers were different. They were smarter, faster, more dangerous. Arya's eyes narrowed. These are scouts. They test the defenses and look for weaknesses. You must act quickly and guide the palace as one. Your mind will influence the outcome more than any weapon. Nico felt the pressure, but he remembered the lessons from the valley: patience, observation, harmony. He extended his hands, imagining the vines and streams working together as a single force. Slowly, the palace's energy adjusted. Beams were deflected, shields reinforced, and the gardens remained unharmed. One ship broke away from the group, moving directly toward a central garden. Nico's heart pounded. He focused all his attention on the moving threat. The vines twisted and grew, forming barriers and channels to redirect the energy. Water streams rose in shimmering arcs, blocking the attack. The ship fired again, but its energy was absorbed by the palace itself. Nico realized that humans could act quickly and adapt, thinking in ways the Valari alone could not. Arya watched him closely. Your courage is valuable, Nico, but your mind must be sharper. Predict their moves, anticipate their patterns, and guide life accordingly. That is the human strength the stars have yet to see fully. Encouraged, Nico studied the ship's formation. He noticed small patterns in their movement, a rhythm in their attack, using the palace as a tool. He shifted energy slowly, influencing their path without direct confrontation. The ships faltered, confused by defenses they could not fully predict. Nico felt a surge of pride. Humans could think differently, act differently, and survive because of it. Suddenly, one of the black ships released smaller drones, fast and agile, aimed at the palace's power nodes. Nico's eyes widened. He had never faced such precise attacks before. Arya moved beside him. Do not panic. Observe, adapt, act. Your focus will guide the palace and the citizens to respond. Nico concentrated on the drones. He imagined gentle streams of energy surrounding them, redirecting their paths harmlessly into the sky. The drones moved like leaves in a stream, unable to harm the palace. Citizens watched, amazed at the human guiding the defense. Nico realized that this was different from Earth battles. Here, the mind and courage created protection without destruction. A larger ship suddenly swooped in from above, aiming for the palace's core. Nico felt fear, but he steadied himself. He had learned patience and harmony from the valley. He guided the energy around the palace, forming a web of defenses that redirected the attack. The ship was forced to retreat, unable to break through. Nico felt a deep sense of achievement. Arya nodded approvingly. You are learning, Nico. Humans are not always the strongest in force, but you adapt, think, and connect. That is your power. Remember this when greater challenges arrive. The Black Fleet hesitated. Regrouping at the edge of the atmosphere, Nico sensed their calculations. They were testing, planning, but they had not yet broken the defenses. He realized that the human ability to combine courage and observation could give them an advantage. No alien technology could fully counter. Now, one final task, Arya said. You must guide the palace to respond as one with the citizens. Timing is critical. The fleet will return in waves, and your mind will influence the whole defense. Be ready. Nico took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He felt the palace's energy, the flowing gardens, the living vines, the water streams, and the citizens as extensions of the system. He reached out mentally, forming a connection with every element. Energy moved smoothly under his intent. Every attack was met with subtle adjustment, every danger redirected. The palace became an orchestra, and Nico was the conductor. The black ships returned in force. Beams flashed across the sky. But the palace responded perfectly. Vines twisted to absorb and redirect energy. Water streams formed shimmering walls, and citizens moved with precision. Nico felt a sense of unity unlike anything he had ever experienced. Humans could adapt, think, and guide. He understood fully that his courage combined with observation and understanding made him a partner in this living defense. After long minutes of battle, the ships finally retreated. Nico's body trembled with exhaustion, but his mind was alive with excitement. He had faced danger, guided a living palace, and helped protect an entire civilization. Arya approached him, smiling. "Well done, human," she said. "You have shown courage, adaptability, and understanding. You acted where others might hesitate. You connected with life, guided it, and defended without destruction. That is what makes humans extraordinary in the galaxy." Nico nodded, still catching his breath. He realized that humans had potential beyond Earth. They could survive, thrive, and even lead when guided by courage, thought, and heart. Today, he had learned that humans were more than explorers. They could be protectors, leaders, and partners in the stars. As night fell over the palace, Nico looked at the stars. He understood that challenges would continue, but humans could rise. To them, courage, understanding, and adaptability were his strengths. With these, he could face anything the galaxy held. And for the first time, Nico felt certain that humans could belong among the stars, not as visitors, but as equals and partners in a living universe. The morning sun rose over the Valari Palace, casting golden light across the gardens. Nico walked slowly, still feeling the weight of the previous night's battle. The black ships had retreated, but he knew it was only temporary. Danger always returned, but so did opportunity. Today, he would face the final lesson, one that would show if humans could truly stand among the stars. Arya met him at the palace gates. Her eyes were bright and calm. "Nico, you have shown courage, understanding, and harmony. You guided the palace and citizens with wisdom. Now, you will face the ultimate test. Not a test of strength, but a test of leadership and vision. The future of the Valari and humans may depend on what you do today." Nico felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He had faced dangers before, but this felt different. This was about choices, responsibility, and trust. Arya led him to a high platform overlooking the valley. Below, the rivers glowed, the trees shimmered, and the citizens moved with purpose. But beyond the horizon, a strange shadow appeared. It was not a fleet like before. This was larger, darker, and more deliberate. Something ancient, moving with intelligence and purpose. Nico felt a chill in his chest. The shadow. Arya said quietly, "It has existed for millennia. It consumes energy, life, and balance. Few civilizations have faced it and survived. Humans have potential, but this will require courage, thought, and connection to life itself." Nico swallowed hard. The lessons of courage, patience, and harmony raced through his mind. He realized that he must combine everything he had learned. Action alone would not be enough. Observation alone would not suffice. He needed to guide, protect, and inspire simultaneously. Arya touched his shoulder. "You are not alone. The palace, the valley, and the citizens will respond to your guidance. You must show them how to act as one. And you must lead with heart and mind. Humans can teach even the stars how to survive together." The shadow moved closer, waves of darkness flowing. Like liquid across the land, Nico stepped forward, feeling the energy of the palace beneath his feet. He reached out, imagining a network connecting every vine, river, tree, and citizen. The energy responded, a soft hum filling the air. The palace itself seemed to listen. Waiting for his intent, the first tendrils of the shadow reached the valley. Nico acted quickly. He guided vines to twist and block, water streams to form barriers, and energy flows to shield the citizens. But the shadow adapted, moving faster than anything he had faced. It seemed almost alive. Testing his response at every moment, Arya spoke calmly beside him. Do not fight it directly. You must understand it, influence it, and guide its path. Without anger or fear, humans can do what others cannot. You can see opportunity in chaos and order in danger. Nico focused. He sensed the shadow not as a threat, but as a force of imbalance. He imagined a path of energy leading it away from the valley, guiding it toward open space where it could dissipate without harm, slowly, carefully. He extended his intent. The vines and rivers became channels, redirecting the flow of the shadows. Darkness. The citizens followed his guidance instinctively. Arya smiled. See how humans can lead not by force, but by connection. You show them what courage and thought combined can do. The shadow resisted, striking at the defenses, but Nico remained calm. Every attack was met with adjustment, every move anticipated and redirected. He realized that humans could act with both courage and patience, shaping events without destruction. The valley became a living conductor, Nico as its human maestro. Hours passed. Though it felt like minutes, the shadow weakened under Nico's guidance. Its darkness thinned. Its movement slowed. Finally, with a coordinated effort of energy, life, and focus, the shadow dissipated, leaving only calm light in its place. The valley was safe, the palace unharmed, and the citizens cheered quietly. Filled with relief and admiration, Arya approached Nico, her eyes shining. You have done what few could. You combine courage, understanding, and leadership. Humans have potential beyond measure. You have proven that you belong among the stars, not just as visitors, but as partners and guides. Nico felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had faced every challenge, learned every lesson, and now understood his place in the galaxy. Humans could survive, adapt, and thrive, not through force alone, but through courage, thought, and connection. The citizens surrounded him, bowing respectfully, offering smiles and nods of gratitude. Nico realized that leadership was not about power, but about guidance, care, and example. He had led without demanding obedience, and the results had been stronger than any weapon could achieve. Arya placed a hand on his shoulder. You have earned the trust of the Valari, but remember, the galaxy is vast. Other challenges will come. You must continue to learn, to grow, and to act with heart and mind. Humans can shape the future if they remember what you have shown today. Nico looked at the glowing valley, the flowing rivers, the shimmering trees, and the citizens who now trusted him. He felt hope, not just for himself, but for all humans. He knew that Earth could learn from the stars, and the stars could learn from humans. Together, they could create a future full of possibility, balance, and life. As the sun rose higher, bathing the valley in golden light, Nico realized that this was only the beginning. He had proven that humans could stand among the stars, that courage and understanding could shape destiny, and that connection with life was the greatest power of all. Arya smiled at him one last time. The stars will remember your name, Nico, and so will the future. You have shown that humans are not just survivors. You are leaders, protectors, and partners in the galaxy. Nico took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the light, the hum of energy, and the trust of a civilization unlike any on Earth. He smiled, knowing that humans had a place among the stars and that their journey was just beginning. The galaxy stretched before him, full of mystery, challenge, and promise, and Nico, the human who had learned courage, harmony, and leadership, was ready to face it all.